welcome back to my channel. I am so excited that you guys decided to watch another one of my videos, Living Life with Breast Cancer. So on my last video, I talked about how I was going to have my children on my video. My last one was of my youngest daughter, Samantha. And today I have with you my oldest daughter, Sarah.
Hi.
Welcome.
I am so welcome.
Sarah is 16 years old and she is about to be a senior in high school. I can't believe it. I feel so old at 42. I really do. So the reason I wanted to have Sarah on our channel is just to not introduce you guys, but I also wanted you to hear her story and kind of what she has been through, I would say the last year and a half. Our journey with everything going on with her, I would say started in 2019. Sarah started having just lots of migraines.
Really bad migraines.
Explain your migraines. What were they like?
They were nonstop. They happened 24/7. They made me feel nauseous. And I wouldn't eat a lot.
No. She had started having the headaches, horrible headaches, and so we had taken her to her pediatrician. I suffered with migraines, so every symptom that she had essentially pointed to migraines.
It was just migraines.
So they gave her migraine medicine. That went on for a little bit longer.
I took that medicine every day.
Every day. And then I think it was October, November of 2019. Headaches weren't getting any better, so I was like, we're going back to the pediatrician. So we went back to the pediatrician, and this time they recommended for us to see our neurologist. So that was January of 2020 that we went and saw a neurologist. Again, everything still pointed to migraines. So we just changed her dosage, and we were kind of at that point that we're like, I feel bad now saying this, but we were kind of like, you're gonna have to suck it up. You have migraines, people live with migraines, you're just gonna have to suck it up.
Yeah, and that made me feel worse because I just kept feeling bad every single day.
And I feel so bad now thinking about it. So I would say the end of January, Sarah started to get to the point where every time she got up, I
would get super dizzy for like a couple minutes.
Yeah, she was super dizzy just standing up, just she was feeling horrible, and she had lost so much weight. So she's around 5 foot and she was like 99 pounds. Looking back on it, she was super skinny. And we thought, honestly, that maybe she had an eating disorder.
Yeah, I thought I had an eating disorder because like every time I would eat, I would just like throw it back up after.
That was another thing. She couldn't even eat hardly anything. And so
I could only like drink. I drank a lot of water.
The end of January into February. So Sarah had played softball in the past. She loved playing softball, and so she wanted to try out for her high school softball team. Sarah had played golf, so Sarah's a golfer as well. Sarah had played golf for a few years. She loved it, but she wanted to try softball. So we're like, okay. Again. So on February the 8th, she had her physical. But going back and thinking about it now, like she'd went to the softball batting cages that day. And before the appointment, like, the balls, I remember me and Brian were looking like some of these balls that were coming at Sarah were so close and she wasn't even moving. So like, I'm like, what did she do? That ball almost hit her. We'll get to why that was in a second. So February 8th was her physical. And so we went and they were doing an eye chart, like the vision test. And so it has like a little card and she's like, okay, close your like left eye. And Sarah was like,
I was like, I can't see that.
She like couldn't even see the paper, and we're like, Sarah, what do you mean you can't see? She's like, I can't see on my right eye. I'm like, when did this start? Just like a week ago. And then she's like, I can't see like anything from like here over. But she had great vision in her left eye, just no peripheral.
It was 20/20.
And then like 100 over, 20 over here. And so
it was like 2100.
It was something.
20.
She just couldn't see. Like she couldn't even see like the hand in front of her. So we're like, well, okay, that's just super weird. But so the doctor was like, I would make an appointment with her eye doctor just to get checked out. Maybe her vision has changed. Like nothing we thought of anything past her vision changed. So that was the 8th. So on February the 9th, we went to church that morning, and then I had an appointment with her eye doctor at Lens Crafters. So we go into Lens Crafters and we start telling the doctor like, hey, she like she failed her eye vision yesterday. She can't see anything. Can we, you know, look at her vision? So it was Dr. Wong, and Dr. Wong, you know, like he turned on the lights. He got the little eye thing, and he starts looking in her eye. I'm like, this is like her. He's like going to this eye. Then he goes to the left. Then he goes to the right. And then he goes to the left. And then he pulled up a letter. He's like, what's the letter? And she was like, I don't know. I can't read it. He was like, has your colors changed at all? I don't remember if your color had changed. Like the color was fine. So then he goes back to her eyes and he's going right to left, right to left. Like back and forth for a couple minutes. And then he was like, okay. He goes, I'll be right back. I just need to make a phone call real quick. And so I'm like.
I was sitting there. I was like.
I think that maybe is when it kind of set in for us that maybe something was wrong, but again, we just had no clue. So Dr. Wan came back in and he was like, you need to go to the emergency room right now. And we're like, why? And so her optic nerve, so your optic nerves in the back of your eyes, again, we're still learning all this. And so they, hers was you're supposed to like lay flat on the back, I think, but hers were like little mountains. So they were bulging. So they were bulging out, which could have been awful. But he's like, you need to go right now.
To the emergency room.
So come to find out, the person he called was his wife, who was also an ophthalmologist, and he was basically just asking her when she should go to the emergency room. And they determined that she needed to go right then and there. So that was about, I would say, 3:30ish.
It was sometime in the afternoon.
Yeah, it was like 3:30ish. And so I was like, I don't even know where to go. And he was like, you need to go to Novant in Huntersville area. And so I was like, okay. So we head to Huntersville. This is like at the height of COVID was just starting.
We didn't know what it was.
We didn't know what it was. We knew it was like a sickness going around. And so we go into the emergency room and the place is packed out. You know, we're sitting here laughing and joking. I gave the ER person the paper, like this is what her eye doctor said. So they did triage, they took her temperature, they did all that. And about 10 minutes later, they're like, we're gonna do a CT scans on her because they wanted to look at her head. So they did a CT scan and we came out and we're sitting there and we got snacks. I think we got like Pop-Tarts and drinks, and we probably weren't sitting down maybe 5 minutes. And the nurse came and called us back to the ER or back to the back thing. So you know in ER rooms you have like kind of smaller rooms, and so we're passing all these rooms and in the back are 2 trauma bays. And we start walking into the trauma bay and I just see nurses. There's probably like 2 or 3 nurses and they're just opening stuff. Things were getting opened up and we're like, what the heck is happening? So like in the middle of a room was a bed, a gurney, I would say. And so I think Sarah sits down. If you're looking at the gurney, I was standing to the left of her. And as soon as we got in, the doctor followed us in. We're like,
there was like 2 nurses behind
them. So there was like 5 or 6 people in the room with us. People were starting to hook her up. And the doctor, remember, he's at the end of the bed. He's grabbing her toes. And there's certain things that they do to check for, I guess, brain stuff. So like stick out your tongue, squeeze my hands, like the lights, push your foot against the hand. And so he was having to do all these. And I remember him standing at the end of the bed and he's holding her feet, like not bad, but he's like holding on to me. He was like, well, we found a mass in your brain.
I started crying.
I think we both looked, I mean, now we can laugh about it in the sense, but back then I'm probably going to cry. I think that was like, I think we both looked at each other like this and we both like turned red. I think we cried for a second, but I'm going to cry again. But I will say there was this, after maybe like a 10, 15, 20 minute or second shock, this kind of like weird peace came over me. And I think you felt the same thing. Did you feel the same thing?
Yeah. I just remember like God telling me like, it's going to be okay. You guys got this. And that push of like motivation.
Yeah. And I felt it was something we hadn't talked about that until honestly recently. I think we talked about that we didn't know at the same time. We both felt that. We felt this just overwhelming calmness that came over us and in the room. And I remember the child life specialist came in with her. They started laughing. We started talking about stuff. I will say it's probably some of the most difficult phone calls I had to make. I called our family. I called my boss. I called people. I called church people. Like, hey, this is what's happening. And so that was probably at like 5-ish, 5:30ish, I would say.
Like all that happened in about like 2 hours.
Yeah, it happened in about a 2-hour span of time that happened. So it wasn't the main hospital, so we were actually transported to the children's hospital. And I remember being in the ambulance, and then we get to the children's hospital. We're wheeled up, and she's in ICU. So they immediately put her in ICU. And so we get to ICU, they start doing testing, or they start looking, and it basically was immediate that she was going to have brain surgery the next day,
Next morning.
But we found that out. So as they were getting her wheeled in, they decided they needed to do MRI. So this child right here endured a 2.5-hour MRI. Not moving.
Worst MRI ever.
How she did it, I don't know what it was like in the MRI for 2 hours.
I don't know. Well, they told me it was just going to be like 1.5 hours, right? And then when it was over, I was like, how long was that? They were like, about 2.5 hours. I was like, so you're telling me I had to sit, I was sitting here.
She did.
For 2.5 hours.
Yeah. So I will say during that time, they wheeled her down there. Of course, we were able to go down there, but we couldn't go into the room. So we just basically, in the midst of all this, it's just me and her. So I have to make a call to my husband. I was like, you've got to get here right now. Like,
it's
like you got to get here to the emergency room right now. So he, basically, I think he showed up in 15, 20 minutes.
Yeah.
He's like, what's going on?
Speeding down the highway.
He was probably speeding down the way. So he got there, and then with my youngest daughter, Samantha, so they came, and so I basically, as we were going to the hospital, one of it, I was going to stay the night with her. So I was like, you need to bring this, and this. You need this for her. So luckily he had to go home and try to pack a bag for us and try to find all of our crap.
Yeah.
I have stuff everywhere. Let's just be honest. I just have stuff everywhere. And so bless his heart, he was trying to find all my stuff, find Sarah's stuff.
Find all my stuff.
So he did a great job with that. So during the MRI, I was able to, the last 30 minutes, go down and sit with her in the MRI machine. It was funny, I had a necklace on, and I was like, what is this over here? My necklace was pulling to the machine.
Well,
so yeah.
I remember them asking them asking me, they're like, do you want your mom to come sit in the room with you for however much longer
it was 30 minutes left.
And I was like, yeah.
So I think I held her leg the whole time.
Well, I just remember me going, and then your arm going like this.
Think of the Michael Scott lying on my foot in.
His foot.
So that was Sunday night. So while she was in the MRI, that's actually when they told us that she was going to have brain surgery immediately the next morning at 8 o'clock. Mm-hmm. But the cool thing is that, so our family had started on the year before, we had started on a debt-free journey with Dave Ramsey. And for some reason, this one over here, going to the hospital, her main concern was how much is this going to cost us?
This is not going to be good. When Dave Ramsey's going to be so mad.
He's not going to be mad because it was a health thing. So we wouldn't have been mad. Of course, we would have paid whatever it was to get our child healthy. So while this is how amazing God is, and how I feel like he works in mysterious ways and doesn't sometimes give us the things we need at the moment we did. Because when she was actually admitted to the children's hospital, she became a St. Jude patient. So St. Jude has been, I'm going to cry again, goodness. St. Jude has been beyond amazing and been beyond wonderful for everything that they have done for our family, not only financially, but the people, our doctors, our oncologists, our child life specialists, everybody that we get to interact with every month now has been truly amazing. So shout out to St. Jude. Thank you for all you do. I would definitely encourage you to support St. Jude because of what we have seen firsthand of what they do. So I was able to tell her when she got the MRI, hey, Sarah, don't freak out. Everything is covered 100%. And she's like,
I started bawling.
She did. She started crying.
I started bawling.
She started bawling, but it was just it was such a miracle because if we would have went to the other hospital in January and they would have discovered the brain tumor, we would not have been St. Jude. So even though I hated that she went through what she did, we just knew it was a blessing in disguise that we would become, she would become a St. Jude patient.
Yeah.
So MRI was done. came in that night. We
Family drove overnight.
So we had some family drive overnight. We had our youth director and some leaders and our staff at our church again. Shout out Elevation. We love Elevation. They actually drove to the other side of town, brought us dinner. They came and hang out with us while she was in MRI, prayed with us. It was just amazing to have them there. And so Monday, so that was Sunday night. She ate. We weren't going to tell her she was going to have surgery just because we didn't want her upset all night. However, a nurse did give it away that she was having surgery. So what did you feel that night like? Were you freaking out? Were you kind of relieved you were going to have surgery?
I was kind of like, okay, this is going to happen anyway. No need to like stress about it.
Yeah, I remember you weren't stressed.
No. I was like, this is going to happen either way. I mean.
I think she slept all night long. And so early the next morning, the neurosurgeon, again, blessing for our neurosurgeon. She is amazing. She came in and basically just told us what was going to happen. So Sarah's brain tumor, so her brain tumor sits going straight back in your eyes is your optic nerve. So hers sits basically right in the middle of her head. And it is where the optic nerve chasm is.
When you go through my ears, it's right in the middle.
So your optic nerves go in and then they cross over. And where they cross over, the chasm is where her tumor sits next to her pituitary gland. So basically her doctor just gave us, the risk of hitting the pituitary gland. So she was basically going to do what she needed to do in that moment to help Sara feel better. Her goal was not to get it all out, only for the fact that she did not want to hit that pituitary gland and mess up everything going forward in her life. So, Yep. So Sara had what's called pileocystic astrocytoma. So that's a cyst. And then she has a low-grade optic pathway glioma. So the cyst was actually what was causing all her problems. It was pushing on the brainstem. It was causing the headaches. Everything that Sara was experiencing was the tumor and the cyst. So surgery the next morning. Scariest part of my life, I would say, is watching my daughter get wheeled back into brain surgery and not knowing what it was going to be on the outcome. So that was about 8 o'clock. I think between 8 and 9 o'clock that happened. And then surgery went till about, I think, 1-ish, something along that lines. And then Sara came out of surgery, and I'm sure Brian's going to post the pictures to show what it looked like coming out of surgery. So Sara pretty much slept all day Monday. She woke up. She woke up Monday night and she was hungry, and so we tried to give her a vitamin at the same time. Bless her heart, she just threw up everywhere. But luckily, she doesn't remember
didn't I have only like applesauce or something?
She had Jello.
Jello. And then they gave me a vitamin. I was like.
And she threw it, but she doesn't remember it. Do you remember?
I remember throwing up.
So that was the only time she was really awake. So she slept all day Monday, all day Tuesday. And then around Tuesday mid-morning, she finally kind of wakes up. And the first thing on her mouth was she was hungry.
I want food.
She was starving. I think she wanted Chick-fil-A or something, but she was starving. And from that moment on, she ate. I remember she ate chicken Alfredo. Then you turned around and you wanted Rice Krispie treats. You wanted Jello. She asked the nurses for Rice Krispie treats, and we had never seen her really eat like that before. So she ate and ate and ate and ate. So I would say Tuesday afternoon, her neurosurgeon comes in and we start talking to her and start asking her questions. And this is kind of why I did get a little bit more nervous, is because we were asking her questions and she was like, I don't know. We're like, well, what school do you go to? She's like, high school. I'm like, high school? What school do you go to? And she was like, I don't know. And we're like, it starts with a C. She's like, oh, Cox Mill. And so then her doctor asked her what her favorite ice cream was. And she said Adidas. And I'm like, I'm looking, she said Adidas. And I look at her neurosurgeon. I'm like, yee! And she was like, Mom, it's fine. She just had brain surgery. It's completely fine. So, like, her memory that week was she was very quiet.
I don't remember that.
She was very quiet that week. Like, when she laughed, she didn't, externally laugh. It was very, a silent laugh. So, Tuesday, Wednesday, we had a very special surprise. We had some people from Elevation Worship came, and we just had a time of worship in our hospital room in ICU.
It was good.
I think it was that you just felt the Holy Spirit in the room. There was this calmness. It was just an amazing time of worship that we had that, well, I think, again, I'm going to cry. I think that will always stick out in my mind of, like what a hospital visit should be. I just thought it was amazing that they took time out of their day to come and see Sara.
Mm-hmm.
I think Wednesday afternoon she started getting up. She started walking.
You feel like you need to hold on to it, kind of push it. I feel like it'll help you.
Again, eating all times of the hour. I think I have like a little video. It was like 2 o'clock in the morning, and she was starving, and I had
goldfish.
She had goldfish and popcorn, and we were just eating
like at midnight.
2 o'clock in the morning. I think we were watching The Office. Her amazing our youth team, her girls group brought her a big basket and said she had lights in her room, and we had tons of people that brought us food and snacks and decorations, and so she started walking Wednesday, Thursday, and then by Friday the 14th, they were doing her PT, basically walking up and down the aisles, and
fingers lights.
That was one thing you had to endure every couple hours was a point the light
every hour, like after the first night, right?
Yeah.
They would wake me up every hour to do those, light and squeezing my.
So the light, basically, they were looking at. So before surgery, when you do the light, your pupils. I'm probably saying these wrong. They get small. They're supposed to get small in the light. Well, hers were not getting small beforehand. So afterwards, they were testing it, and you could definitely see hers had started to shrink now. So like hers definitely don't get super, super tiny, but definitely way better than they were before. So it's a great sign. So, but Friday they were doing PT, and she started dancing in the hallway, and they're like, I think you can go home now.
Good. Oh, look at you. Good deal. Okay. Sorry. I knew someone was behind me. I didn't know where. Okay. Good. Yeah. That looks pretty good. Jeez, good. Oh, dancing. Oh my gosh. You guys doesn't need any of us.
So it was
We
Friday.
have a video of that.
Yeah, we have a video. So she went home Friday. She was, after having brain surgery, she was back at school 2 weeks later. But then unfortunately COVID hit, where everything was shut down the week after. We met with her oncologist. Because her tumor is a low grade, it's not technically cancer. It's a very slow growing tumor. So we had started, first of all, with regular traditional IV chemo, and she did chemo for the first 10 weeks, was really good, didn't really have any side effects. And then her second round is when it kind of hit her. She was able to do 2 rounds of it, but the second round was really kind of hard on her body. She was sick all the time. She just felt nauseous. I remember her throwing up. The third round we went to start, and she just, unfortunately, her numbers did not come up. In the meantime, she had done an MRI. We could see there was the tumor had shrunk a little bit, but not that much. That was in August. I think it was August of last year. And so because her numbers didn't come up for like 4 weeks in a row, they decided to move her to the chemo pills. And so the chemo pills have been amazing. So she started them, I think, August. So August, September, October, I think, if I'm dates are right. Either the end of October, November, they did an MRI, and her doctor called. It had shrunk, which was good. But it had shrunk drastically in like the 3 months. She was like, y'all need to celebrate. We'll show a picture of it as well of what it was before surgery and what it was at that point. So we were just amazed at how the chemo pills have been a blessing. She doesn't really have any side effects from them.
She's really tired.
She gets tired very easily. She's had a little bit, the chemo pills could cause a little skin issue. So she does break out a little bit more. But for the most part, the chemo pills have just been amazing for her. I just have watched her strength that she had the last year. Even though there were times that she was exhausted, she still got up and did her stuff. She still put a smile on her face, I would say 99% of the time. There were some days that she was just like, I'm not doing it. But I will say, like, her strength this past year has really helped me this year in my journey. And so I'm grateful, even though I hate that you went through that, I'm grateful for how you how you have responded to that. We could be completely negative of what happened last year, but you know, we tried to spin that in what can we learn. Our whole thing is what can we learn from this? And what do you feel like you took, your biggest takeaway from your journey so far has been?
I felt like if I hadn't gone through that, I wouldn't be as close with God as I am right now. So I definitely grew closer to God.
I 100% agree. I feel like as not only has we grown so much closer to God, I feel like our faith has increased. I feel like when I sing a worship song now, I can actually connect to it more than just saying, you know, have your will, have your way. But when you're actually in those moments and you're like pleading to God, like that makes things a little bit more special for you and connect to God. And so I feel like that, but also as a family, I feel like as a family unit, we have been able to get closer because of that journey and then COVID, and we're all stuck together, you know, so.
Yeah.
So it's been a crazy year and a half for sure, but we definitely have so many blessings that have come out of it that I feel like have overrode the bad. I mean, she doesn't have headaches anymore. She gets them every so often. And I'm like, were they like tumor headaches?
Like my muscles.
I'm like, is it a tumor headache? Does it feel like this? Does it feel like that? Yeah. So she rarely has headaches. She's gained like great weight, which is good because she was so skinny beforehand to what she is now. We are so grateful. So we're just grateful that, you know, just for all of our doctors, again, St. Jude, I can't stress enough. We're going to put a link below to St. Jude in the description. That way, if you guys want to, you can donate. We would love for you to donate to this amazing cause. Again, they have been so amazing to not only Sarah, but for our family, and we're truly forever grateful for them.
Yeah.
All right, so anything else you want to add?
I mean, I don't think so.
Oh, so talking about chemo and everything, while through chemo, Sarah still played golf. We went and played golf when we could, but of COVID, a lot of things were closed, so we still played golf. She took up guitar. She played in a talent show and came in third.
Miracles when you move, such an easy thing for you to do. And your hand is moving right now. You are still showing up at the tomb of every Lazarus. And your voice is calling me out. Right now, I know you're able, and my God will come through again.
Hands for Holly.
Hands for Holly is another great organization. Yep, we'll put a link to Hands for Holly. They're like a St. Jude where they help families with children who are going through cancer financially.
It's just a lot more local.
It is local to our area of Charlotte that we live in. So Hands for Holly has been a great organization as well. So she did a talent show. She started working at the Lord's Restaurant, Chick-fil-A. Yeah. So she's done all these amazing things. She's an amazing girl. We love her so much, and we really can't wait to see what her future unfolds for her. And so, you have anything else you'd like to say?
No.
No, are you
Thanks
done?
for watching.
All right, so we thank you guys for watching this video. If you liked it, give us a big thumbs up. And please don't forget to subscribe and share the video if you know somebody who might be going through what Sarah is going through, or family. The more that we are now kind of thrust into the brain tumor world, it's just something that's not always talked about. It's not on the high priority. I feel like, not priority, but it's just not one of the top things are talked about. And so we would love to just bring awareness to brain tumors. May is Brain Tumor Awareness Month. Again, St. Jude, can't stress it enough. Henby's Children's Hospital staff there was amazing. So we couldn't have asked for a better group of women doctors around her. Oh, I forgot to add. So she does see a neuro-ophthalmologist. I forgot to add this in here. She does see a neuro-ophthalmologist. She was seeing the them every 3 months. Now she was able to get pushed out to 4 months. So they look in her eyes, and the density in her eyes are better. That means she can actually see more. So where she was, she didn't have peripheral on this side, she can kind of, can you kind of see me in a sense?
I saw your hand moving.
Like she can see a little bit of shapes.
It's like I can't see past like right here, which is really good because it used to be like, oh my god.
Yes, so she's seeing more. Yep, so she sees a neuro-ophthalmologist every 4 months now. So the density of her eyes is looking better, so she's seeing better. So we're hoping that she'll be able to drive. Yes, that's what we want. So again, she hates to drive. I'm tired of driving and I want a chauffeur. I chauffeured you for like 16 years.
I want a chauffeur.
So I need a chauffeur. But anyways, thank you guys so much again for watching. We really appreciate it. Again, give it a big thumbs up if you like it. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. My next video, I am going to basically do a follow-up to what has been going on with myself and kind of what's been going on in our family the last 3 weeks. It's been kind of a crazy 3 weeks in our family as a whole, and so my next video I'm going to be sharing that. I meet with oncology today, so I'm a little nervous about that, so I'll talk about my oncology visit, I'll talk about my previous surgery I just had, and I'll go with plastic surgery tomorrow, and I go back to work tomorrow. So we'll talk about my first day back to work and how I feel. 3 weeks off, almost 4 weeks off is a little tough. I'd like to go back. But I'm excited to go back and see my team again and talk to them. So, all right, well, I love you guys. Thank you guys again so much for watching. We appreciate it. Thank you so much for the support and everything. All right, we love you guys. Thank you so much. Bye.